Greetings all, my name is Jason Colyer, Support Operations Manager here at GitLab, and today I'm going to cover setting up a project in GitLab.com and having it mirror to our ops instance and everything that's required here. So in this particular case, we have the project Zendesk Automations that exists on the ops instance, but you can see over here in GitLab.com, it does not exist. So the first thing we're going to do is create the project. Now, since we're going to do blank projects, and this is in regards to automations, of course, thinking Zendesk automations, Zendesk US Federal. We want it to be private. We don't need any of that, so create project. Now with that done, we have our project, but we need to go ahead and get it to pull this initial code. Now to get it to pull the initial code, we're going to have to set up some tokens, some access tokens. So what we're going to want to do is set up the access tokens on the source, or on the target. So we're going to go to settings, access tokens. What we would do is give it a name, so something like mirroring, and then we'll go ahead and maintainer, and we can just click all of those. Because it's going to show the token, I'm not actually going to save it on the recording. But once you're done with that, you click the blue save, and then you'll have this nice new token ready to go. Now what we would want to do is do the same thing on the target. Well, we don't actually need it on the source here, so there's some other settings we want to go ahead and tweak while we're here. So let's go to repository, protected branches. We can go ahead and remove it on the target because we're going to be mirroring from GitLab.com. This will just prevent it from having some errors there. We'll also want to edit the CI/CD. We're going to go to our variables and we're going to add a new one, run underscore job, and on the ops instance here, it is set to true. And what we'll do is set the same thing up on our GitLab.com instance. So add variable, run underscore job, and this one is false because we're not going to be running them over here. Alright, so with that in place, we now need to go ahead and set up the mirroring. So let's do repository, mirroring. What we're going to do is over here, we're going to grab that Git URL. We want the HTTPS version. We're going to do my username. We're pulling from it. And we need to give it the access token we generated. And we don't need to worry about all this now since we're just pulling the initial stuff. We'll go ahead and make sure that it's updating. And if we go to the project, there's our code. So we've now got that set up. So we can go back to our repository, mirroring, and we can get rid of this pull mirror. We don't need it anymore. Now what we do need to set up is for the GitLab.com instance to push updates over here, over to the ops instance. So once again, we're going to set this up. This time we are pushing. Make sure to give it that access token from the target. And this time, mirror only protected branches. We only want it to do the main default master whatever branch. So with those set up, we now need to edit our CI/CD. So we're going to go to our CI YAML here, and we want to edit this. Now, essentially, what we want to do is have the from Zendesk job, the compare job, and the sync job only run over here on the ops instance, but the from repo job can run either way. So first we're going to set up an empty rules bracket for from repo because it can just run anytime. It's not a big deal. But for the from Zendesk one, we're going to set up rules, and we're going to do if run job true. Now this will essentially say to only run this job if that variable run job is true, which it is not on the .com instance, but it is on the ops instance. Now we're going to go ahead and add that. We'll add that to our compare and our sync jobs. There we go. And that should be all we need there. But worst case scenario, we can always edit this as needed. So we'll do a commit, adjusting CI rules for mirroring, and we'll create a new merge request. The benefit of doing it this way is we are going to be able to see if it's working correctly. We'll add our labels. So this is automations. We're doing it. Our priority is normal. Our milestone is this deployment. We're going to go ahead and assign it to myself, and we'll squash commits. Now we can see how it's already said its detached pipeline has failed. So if we look, you can tell me, okay, must have typoed a little bit on that MR. So let's look at our changes. From Zendesk, rules. Looks correct to me. But when in doubt, we can look at a pre-established one and see if we've typoed something there. So we know this one's working in macros. And I can see how I clean things up a lot on this one. So I feel like that's something we can go ahead and do here. So we'll open in Web IDE. And I'm just going to do that to clean it up. And I'll call it cleanup. Okay, so we can refresh this. There we go. Yeah, I probably had some bad spacing in that original one. That one looks much better. Alright, we can get rid of those. We can see how the pipeline should complete, and what we want to do is check that it only ran the from repo. That's correct. We don't running everything else here. Cool. So what I'll do is mark this as completed. I'll approve it, and we'll merge it. Now while that does that, let's go to our settings real quick. There's some things we want to adjust here. So request approvals. We want to get rid of these, save it like that. We're going to add an approval rule, and we're going to call it support operations. We only care about the main branch. And what we're going to do here is add myself and Dan. And just for sake of it, we'll add GL support bots. Now, the reason we're not adding the rest of operations is this is a US federal one, so we only want the US federal ones who can maintain the actual code doing it. So with that set up, we should be in a good place. We would want to normally set up like the merge request settings. Some things we would normally want to do here is require that. Pipelines must succeed. All discussions must be set. And then we'd want to set our default merge request, but we'll, our template, but we'll do that at a later time. So with that all done, let's go ahead and check the status of our mirror. We will go to mirroring. It says it just pushed now, so let's refresh over here and we should see that new CI update. And there we go. And that's all there really is to it. With that, it's set up, it's good to go. Update your documentation and you're ready to continue. Hope you found this educational. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.